Hi guys, my name's Adam and welcome to my new video. Today I'm gonna do a big comparison of these devices. I have two most recent flagships from two of the biggest companies in mobile industry. Here's the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus and of course iPhone 11 Pro Max. How do these two top-of-the-class smartphones hold up head-to-head to each other? Is the S20 Plus the smartphone you've been waiting for with all these futuristic-looking features? Or is the iPhone 11 Pro Max with its more conservative approach the best phone you can buy today? Let's find out. Here we go. When it comes to design, these two are very different. Let's have a look at the back first. The back of both of these is made from the glass, but on the S20 Plus the glass is shiny and very reflective, yet on the 11 Pro Max the glass is frosted and matte. That means that with the S20 Plus you get a real fingerprint magnet. But with the 11 Pro Max, you can touch it all you want, but there's no fingerprints visible. You also have traditional Apple logo on the 11 Pro Max and the Samsung branding on the S20 Plus. There's no additional text, it just looks very clean on both of these. You also get big camera bumps on both, with 4 lenses on the S20 Plus and 3 lenses on the 11 Pro Max. When I look at these two phones from the back, I honestly prefer the 11 Pro Max over the S20 Plus. Don't get me wrong, the S20 Plus looks fine, but it's just a little bit more boring look and it feels kind of plasticky to me. On the other hand, the 11 Pro Max looks quite premium and I just love the frosted matte look of it. So this one has to go to Apple. The frame on the 11 Pro Max is made from the stainless steel and on the Samsung you get the lightweight aluminum. So that's probably why iPhone with its 226 grams is much heavier than the S20 Plus, which comes at 186 grams. But maybe because of its weight, I think the 11 Pro Max has more premium feel to it. The S20 Plus definitely feels good in hand, but in comparison with the iPhone, it just seems like a cheaper brother. I know that some of you will definitely prefer the lightweightness of the Samsung, but I personally don't mind the iPhone to be heavier, because I feel like I'm holding a solid piece of tech in my hand. So points to Apple for this. I said that I prefer the design of the frame and back of the 11 Pro Max, but everything changes when you turn these and look at their screens. The iPhone features 6.5-inch OLED display with the resolution of 1242 by 2688 pixels, which is 458 pixels per inch. The Samsung has 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED screen with the maximum resolution of 1440 by 3200 pixels, which is 525 pixels per inch. I said that this is the maximum resolution because you can choose between 3 resolutions on the S20 Plus, and this phone is set to the middle resolution by default, and you definitely should keep it that way, because only with this resolution you can enable the best feature of the S20 Plus screen, and that's the high refresh rate. This phone supports 120 Hz, which is absolutely amazing. I'm used to this from the iPad Pro, but it's just incredible to see it on a smartphone. Everything is absolutely smooth on this display. It's just a whole new experience, and you will definitely notice the difference when you come back to the 60Hz iPhone after using the S20 Plus. I just don't get why Samsung is offering the higher resolution option. Honestly, there's absolutely no visible difference between the middle and highest resolution option, and with the highest resolution you lose the ability to turn the 120Hz refresh rate. So in my view, the high resolution of the S20 Plus is just a marketing thing with no reasonable use case. The screen on the 11 Pro Max is definitely not bad either. The colors are nice and real, and I love that the iPhone screen is not oversaturated. The viewing angles are also fantastic, and overall this screen is one of the best on the market. But boy, it's really hard to compete with Samsung, because if there's one thing that this Korean company can do the best, then it's their screens. Even though the 11 Pro Max screen is fantastic, the S20 Plus is the whole another level. It's more bright, there's like no bezels at all, and instead of a big notch on the iPhone, you only get this little cutout in the top area. And I didn't like the big dual camera cutout on the last year's S10 Plus, but this one does not bother me at all. I forgot about it almost immediately, and I was just so immersed by the quality of this display. The S20 Plus is probably the best screen I've seen on a smartphone so far. On the iPhone, you only get one biometric authentication option, and that's the Face ID scanner. I love Face ID because it works in every condition, even in total darkness. It's fast and it's reliable, and it's just so consistent, it recognizes you in 99.9% of the time. On the other hand, you get much more versatility on the S20 Plus. There's also a face scanner, so you can unlock your Galaxy just by looking at it. And it's pretty fast actually, but it doesn't work that great in those low-light scenarios. And it's also not as secure as the Face ID of iPhone, simply because it's not using the advanced face mapping sensors, and it's just using the standard front camera. But the main form of biometric authentication on the S20 Plus is the fingerprint reader, which is integrated into the screen, so it doesn't have its own dedicated button. And I have to admit that it's much more reliable than the fingerprint reader on the last year's S10 Plus. Even though Samsung is using pretty much the same technology of the scanner, it seems that they've done some of their software magic to make it much better. And in this weird time of wearing masks on our faces, it's actually nice to have a fingerprint reader. But there's one big issue with it for me. I've been used to having Touch ID on older iPhones, and when I pulled the iPhone from my pocket, I immediately put my finger to the home button, and the iPhone was usually unlocked even before I looked at it. With the S20 Plus, this is almost impossible to do, because there's no button to hold on to, and the scanner works on just a little area of the screen, so I usually missed it when I pulled Galaxy from my pocket, and I had to reposition my finger and try it again. Maybe that's something I would get used to, but it would be really cool if there was a way to make like whole bottom half of the phone to be a fingerprint reader. Well, maybe in the S30. So in terms of authentication, it's honestly a draw between these two models. The Face ID is more reliable and secure, but the S20 Plus with the face unlock and the fingerprint reader is more versatile, especially in these mask-wearing times. One of the most compared features between every flagship phone is the camera, and these two have one of the best cameras on the current market. Let's start with the iPhone. The 11 Pro Max has a triple lens camera with three 12-megapixel sensors, wide, ultra-wide and telephoto lens. I've been using the camera on the 11 Pro Max for the past 8 months, and it's been an amazing experience. The camera takes fantastic shots at the daylight, and with its dedicated night mode, you can take great images even after sunset. What I love about the iPhone camera is the amazing consistency. It just takes great shots no matter the conditions. I'm not a photo expert, but this camera is honestly incredible. And when it comes to video, iPhone has always been one of the, if not the best camera on the market, and the 11 Pro Max can shoot great videos with a resolution of up to 4K at 60 FPS, and it looks great. On the 11 Pro Max, you can also get ultra-wide camera for the first time on an iPhone, and I love using it because you can fit so much more stuff to the picture, and it just looks more artistic to me. The S20 Plus camera, on the other hand, has better specs, at least on the paper, because it features 4 lenses, but only the wide and ultra-wide are 12 megapixels like on the iPhone, with the telephoto lens being 64 megapixels, so you get a better zoom on the S20 Plus. And a fourth lens is 0.3 megapixels time-of-flight 3D sensor for better AR capabilities. Also, with the S20 Plus, you can shoot 8K video at 24 FPS. Yes, 8K video on a smartphone, no kidding. But that for me is more of a gimmick, as I don't know why anyone would pick that over 4K at 60. But let me tell you, both of these phones will not disappoint you when it comes to the camera. iPhone is consistent and simple. You just open the camera app, take the picture, and it looks amazing. Also, I find the switching between lenses to be much smoother on the 11 Pro Max. But the S20 Plus has a few more features when it comes to the camera. It has better zoom, and in the camera app you have many options to tweak your photos. So if you like to play with your pictures and edit them a lot, then you can sometimes get better ones from the S20 Plus. But the iPhone is for those of you who don't want to spend time editing your photos and you just want quick yet amazing camera. Which one of these approaches is better? That's totally up to you. Both of these are incredible. The selfie camera is surprisingly one of the few specs where iPhone is better on paper because it features 12 megapixel sensor instead of a 10 megapixel one on the S20 Plus. Both of these are great, but here I found iPhone selfie camera to be a little bit better. The HDR is a lot nicer than on the Galaxy. It can always find the perfect balance in the lighting, but on the Galaxy my selfies are either way too overexposed or just completely dark. I hope Samsung will improve this at least a little bit with the software updates. Also, the selfie camera on the S20 Plus can't really handle low light situations too good. iPhone has no night mode on the selfie camera, but the night photos are less grainy and more sharp than on the S20 Plus. Both front-facing cameras can shoot 4K at 60 fps, which is great for video conferencing. Galaxy S20 comes in two versions, one with the Samsung-made Exynos CPU and one with the Snapdragon 865. The Snapdragon version is primary for the US market, and Exynos one is supposed to be sold globally, but you can get the Snapdragon version even at some countries outside the US. I don't get why Samsung bothers to make the Exynos CPU happen, because it always cannot match the Snapdragon, as the 865 is more powerful and more power efficient than the Exynos. It's not a big deal, and in everyday use you won't be able to notice it, but in some very specific tasks you may be able to spot the difference between these two. But even the Exynos version is powerful enough to handle everything you throw at it, and 8GB of RAM makes the multitasking a very pleasant experience on this phone. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is powered by the Apple's custom A13 CPU, which is made with 7nm Plus technology, the same as the Exynos and Snapdragon CPUs in the S20 Plus. A13 is a beast, and right now it's the most powerful CPU you can get in a phone, so don't be worried about the performance. This phone will be fast for many years to come. One of the best features of an iPhone is its efficiency and standby time, which is unmatched even by something like the S20 series of phones. iPhone features 4GB of RAM, which is honestly fine for iOS, although with many apps open at the same time, you could see the phone closing some of them in the background, but Apple is trying really hard to optimize it for the best performance possible. In everyday use you won't see any stutters or freezes on each of these phones, and the Galaxy is also very smooth thanks to the 120Hz screen. So in terms of performance, I can't really say anything negative about each of these devices. They're both powerhouses, and you probably won't be even able to take a full advantage of such a powerful hardware. In the connectivity department, Samsung has a big advantage of being 5G compatible compared to an iPhone which supports the standard 4G LTE. 5G is definitely the future, but that's the thing, it's just the future. Right now, don't worry about buying a phone which doesn't support it. It will take years before 5G is everywhere, but if you live in the area where 5G is supported today, the S20 Plus has you covered. Both of these also support the faster Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0, but I wouldn't expect them not to. When it comes to ports, Samsung for a few years now relies on USB Type-C in its flagship Galaxy phones, and iPhone is using its famous proprietary Lightning connector. But to be honest, I almost never use these ports, as I have AirPods and I also charge my phone wirelessly. The S20 Plus and 11 Pro Max both have wireless charging, although Samsung's one is more speedier at 15 watts, compared to 7.5 watts on the 11 Pro Max. Also, Samsung supports reverse wireless charging, so you can charge, for example, your wireless earbuds just by placing them on the back of your S20. Or you can use it to charge your 11 Pro Max. So that's a cool additional feature of the S20 Plus right here. Both of these phones have pretty big batteries. S20 Plus features 4500 mAh one, and the iPhone has a little bit smaller one at 4000 mAh. But it's still the largest battery to be ever used in an iPhone. And I find the smaller battery to perform better than the bigger one in the S20 Plus. The Galaxy is pretty great when it comes to battery life, so you won't have any problem getting through the heavy day with this one, or even 2 days of light usage. But the 120Hz screen takes a hit at the battery, so by turning this feature off, you can get better battery life, but the experience of having this high-tech, incredibly smooth screen will be gone. So the iPhone 11 Pro Max, with its big battery, 60Hz screen, and great optimization of hardware and software, is the obvious winner of the battery competition. And Apple really stepped up their game when it comes to battery with this generation of iPhones, because the 11 Pro Max battery outperforms even some phones with a huge 5000 mAh one. It's truly incredible, but that doesn't mean that the battery in the S20 Plus is bad. Not at all. The base model of 11 Pro Max starts with 64GB of internal storage, and there are also the 256 and 512GB options. It's a little sad that Apple didn't offer 128GB as the base model, because for $1100 it would definitely be appropriate. The S20 Plus does that, so it starts at 128GB and you can upgrade it to the 512GB, and with this storage option you also get 4 additional gigabytes of RAM, so the 512GB variant comes with a whopping 12GB of RAM. And you can also expand your storage on the Galaxy with the microSD card up to 1TB. So in total you can have a huge 1.5TB of space on your Galaxy S20 Plus. I wouldn't be able to fill up that space on a computer, so on a smartphone it's useless for me, but if you're someone who needs a lot of space, you can have it on your shiny new S20 Plus. The operating system is definitely one of the biggest differences between these two phones for sure. The S20 Plus runs the Samsung One UI 2.1, which is based on the Android 10, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max obviously runs the iOS, with the iOS 13.5 being the most recent version. I don't want to talk about differences between Android and iOS, because that alone would make for a separate video, but I just want to say that I'm pleasantly surprised with the S20 Plus. Gone are the days when Android was laggy and slow, even on flagship phones, and Samsung usually made it even worse with its terrible TouchWiz interface. One UI, on the other hand, is fast, smooth and modern, but a lot of that has to do with the 120Hz screen, which makes everything look blazing fast. With the iPhone, you get the classic iOS look and feel. It's smooth, it's fast, it's stable and it's secure. That's all I gotta say. Someday I will make a video about the essential differences between Android and iOS, because there is a lot to talk about and everyone can choose what they like. But for me, the area where Apple crashes to Samsung is the software support. When you buy a new iPhone, you can be sure that your device is gonna get at least 5 years of software support. That means 5 major iOS updates. So right now, Apple is supporting iOS 13, even on an iPhone 6s, the device which came out in 2015, and it's very possible that they will continue to support it even with the iOS 14. For example, the Samsung S6 was also released in 2015, and the last major version of Android for this phone was Android 7. And when Apple releases new iOS updates, you get them on day one, even on the oldest supported device. So that's a huge advantage for me, because you don't have to worry that your $1000 plus phone is gonna be obsolete in 3 years after its release. With Samsung, it's not that easy. With the flagship Galaxy phones, you only get 2 major Android updates, so the S20 Plus will most likely get Android 11 next year, and Android 12 in 2022, and that's it. This powerful, gorgeous device will not be supported in 2 years. That's not good. And also, it takes Samsung forever to release those updates. Google usually releases Android in late August, and last year they did just that, with many beta versions preceding it, and it still took Samsung more than 5 months before they started updating the S10 series of phones to Android 10 in January of this year. And it took them few months to update all variants of the S10 lineup. So that's definitely something that not even Samsung, but every Android phone manufacturer has to work on. So at the end, how do these two flagships compare to each other? I really can't pick a winner, and I honestly don't think that these are even supposed to be competitors. I don't really think that the iPhone is better overall, or that the Samsung is better overall. These are just two amazing phones, but each with a different approach. And both of these will definitely find its customers who will appreciate them for what they are and what they can offer to them. I personally am an Apple guy, so I obviously tend to use an iPhone, but I can imagine using the Galaxy S20 Plus. But I also have an Apple Watch, AirPods, Mac, iPad and Apple TV, so I'm really locked in Apple's ecosystem, which I love so much, but it would cost me a fortune to replace all my devices to the non-Apple ones. But if you're not stuck behind the high walls of Apple's fancy garden, then you should think about the Galaxy S20 Plus. It's a fantastic smartphone with lots of great futuristic features. And guys, that's it for today's video. What do you think about these two phones? Do you have a winner, or do you also think that both of them are amazing? Let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Also consider subscribing for more videos like this. So until the next time, have a great day, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home if possible, and see you in the next video. Bye!